Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fifth video on how to get your custom characters working on Gears of War 3 PC. In the last video, I showed you how to get your stuff imported into the game and also how to configure your materials so that the character looks fine in the asset editor. Oh well, the asset browser as well. As you can see here, Wolfie is already configured with the materials and she looks gorgeous. But we still cannot make her appear in-game. It's not like we can, open a map here real quick. It's not like we can go ahead and just play the game here in editor and just like type that model name and make it magically work. Because it fucking won't. You can see here to actually get like a character applied to yourself through commands, you type spawn player spawn try Absol, and there you go, we got Absol. But the game itself won't actually recognize something that it doesn't have on the script. So for example, if I type Wolfie here in this case, it's just gonna spawn me as a drone. That is its default of saying, yeah, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Who is this Wolfie? I don't know. So you can see, let's type Sam. We got Sam. We can type Anya, and we're Anya, right? But how or where does the game get that? Well, it gets it from the scripts. Wow, this lighting is actually so bad, I never noticed it. But yeah, all of this stuff works off of scripts that are in the source code, basically. This is the main reason of why we cannot add new characters to other builds that don't ship with source code. So let's go to our coding here actually. Let's see, back. Most builds only come with binary, engine, and the gear game folders. This Gears of War 3 folder was actually made by UPK Explorer, but most times you're not gonna have this. These are gonna be binaries, engine, and gear game. We are using the September source build because it has a development folder here, which includes everything from the source code here, like SRC. There's a bunch of code in here that manages my mod, but I'm not sure about that, but like, online subsystems, the actual Unreal Engine itself, core stuff, drivers for DirectX 9, 11, all that stuff. What we care about is gear game content. Under gear game content classes, there's gonna be a bunch of UC files. All of these UC files are Unreal code, which is kind of like C++, except not really C++. It's more like a weird conversion thing. But what we care about here is to get the gear pawn classes. For example, I think that we're lying right down here. You can see a lot of gear pawn. See this gear pawn locus cantus, gear pawn locus lancer guard, or cantus MP. A lot of these are classes that tell the game that, yeah, this is a gear pawn that you can select. So to add a new character, we basically need to copy one of these and make a new one that references our assets from here that we just added. So first off, let's grab, I don't know, we took Sam before, so let's just grab Sam. Let's not grab the MP stuff. I know that's the multiplayer stuff, but it does have some extra stuff regarding material that get kind of funky in the long run. So let's just rename this as Wolfie. Just go Wolfie. Well, you know what? Let's not add that. It will look a little weird like that. So let's just make it that and edit it on your preferred text editor. I'm gonna use Notepad++ for this. It looks a little better. So yeah, what we really care about is the class here extending cog gear, not, I believe it was like human base MP or something like that. It does have different parameters and such, but we're not gonna use them. So make sure the class you're grabbing is extending from cog gear. Once you make sure of that, let's rename the class to what we named the file to not get any errors down the line. So that P is female, in this case it's true. There's some stuff pointing to icons. In this case we got head icon from UI chart portrait. We don't really care about this stuff for now. I'm probably gonna show you later how to do this. But yeah, this basically just tells it where the head icon is. There's also the AI controller class. You can make this whatever other class with Gear AI is around here, which I think there's not so many. But you can leave it like that for all intents and purposes. You can just leave it like that. There's also the sound group. These are what dictates the sounds that the character makes, not the dialogue. The dialogue are the master god bank classes, but the actual, like, efforts, as they call them, this face effects efforts. Yeah, it even says it here, Sam and Bernie share efforts, so it's using Bernie face effects stuff. For our stuff though, I don't think we actually have face effects stuff going on, so we can just delete that line. The GoDbank class names, yeah, you can actually create new GoDbank stuff, but that is a whole nother can of worms that I might explain later down the line. Not now, so we're just gonna use Sam voices. FAS, shadow names, add. I'm not sure what this is, but we're not using face effect stuff, so you can just get rid of that. Now, this is the important part. The begin object name, gearpalm mesh. Here is where the game actually gets the assets, the mesh for the character. So we got skeletal mesh, it's grabbing the Cogsam Byron asset from the mesh group on that package, the SAM package. So instead of grabbing Sam's asset, we're gonna grab our custom. So you can right click here and copy full name to clipboard, and then you can grab until the equal sign and paste it. You can see it's our custom stuff. The physics asset, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm pretty sure you can actually just use the same physics asset for this, but in this case, you know what, no, I'm actually, no, oh, yeah, let's do that now. So let's grab that physics asset out of Sam. Where is it? Sam? Well, it's already full loaded. It's gonna have here physics asset. Let's create a copy into our custom stuff since we grabbed Sam's model to begin with. So let's go Wolfie. Wolfie can scale physics. Yeah, that's why I wanted to name it that before, but whatever. Yep, you can save it like this now. And here it's using Sam's model. But we can always just click our custom scale mesh, going to edit and change the default to this one. Yeah, I think we can actually just keep it like that. We are going to modify this after we get the scripts working to actually make the tail and other stuff dynamic so it moves around a bit. So just save it like that and get the physics asset referenced over there. So let's copy the name and just paste it over here. And after that, it's a lot more stuff like, default inventory stuff. Oh yeah, also Gore settings. Forgot about that. That is really important. Uh, our model right now does not have an actual LOD model for Gore. So, yeah, it's not gonna magically split up when we chainsaw her or, frag her. So we need to make sure our Gore settings actually tell the game to not split her up in any case. So I think those were actually thrown in another separate folder. Let me get that real quick. Yeah, Gear Gore settings. There's a whole separate package for it. Let's grab Sam Gore settings, although I'm pretty sure it doesn't really matter which one you pick. We're just gonna make sure we're picking all the stuff from where we are modifying from. So, Sam, ABCDG, Sam. I actually recommend creating all of this stuff not in the same package here. Like you saw some of the custom stuff around, but actually to make it a bit more uh, organized, let's just make anything that's related to the character into the character package. So let's just grab here Gore. Yeah, just making the Gore model as well. Well, the Gore takes it. It makes sense to be in that same folder. So let's just grab that. Go into the archetype here, and we see here it has this Gore breakable joints thing where it tells you, oh yeah, you can split this off, you can split that off, and all this stuff off. We cannot split anything in our model yet, so we can just go ahead and remove every single one of these, I think. And the material, this is also important. It needs to be the exact same setup as it is over here in the anim set editor. So you got your body, face, hair, glasses. It has to be the exact same order. So grab your assets, the materials we did before, and click them into the exact same order. Probably gonna do a video later on how to make Gore, but it's such a pain in the ass I might as well not do it. Let's got this body, face. Yeah, because when you're doing your Gore stuff, you're probably gonna have all of the same material indexes like this, but you're gonna have like an extra one with all of the gory stuff. Wait, actually, this was hair and this one glasses. That and the Gore mesh face assets. Every single one uses the Marcus Gore physics, so just keep it like that. And the rest also keep it like that. So once we have that done for, let's save it and copy the name into our script. Let's click this here. So yeah, once you have your core settings set up to not split the character in half, you can just copy the name into the script here. The rest is the actual uh, inventory stuff. You can switch your stuff around to make it so that your character spawns with like a retro lancer, or a sniper rifle and all this stuff. For example, I think you can just make this assault rifle and just call this one shotgun to make it the default one, I think. That, and also, yeah, there's the mask hair material. Yeah, this is the sort of stuff that will be a pain in the ass to work with whenever you're working on another build that's not this custom one, because there's certain material indexes that are set up so that hair actually um, doesn't bug out when it's on smoke. So, when you were throwing a smoke, maybe like the hair was still showing clearly. So they did this setup to make it, to fix it. Fortunately, though, we are not using, weird math material stuff, so we can get rid of this line. And lastly, you can put your character name here, Gordon Wolfie, and it should be good to go. Now, this is the actual class for your character. It's still not referenced in the actual list of stuff that can happen in the game that you can do on the console. Those are actually in another file. This one here, the Gear Sheet Manager. In this, well, I already had it open, but you would start on the top here, and you're gonna see a bunch of weird array stuff that we don't really care about, like this function to spawn a weapon and stuff. You don't need to touch any of this. We need to go to the bottom of it, I think, or the very bottom, and you're gonna find after this there's this default property stuff. Here is this bunch of lines that say spawn pawn list dot add. We're gonna need to grab one of those and make it reference our class. In here, for example, we got ourselves pawn list dot add pawn name Bernie, and this is pointing to the class inside of gear game content that's called gear pawn cog Bernie. Well, we're gonna need this line, or well, any other line really, and just create a copy and paste it around. So for example, here I got all the custom stuff in between call and before Baird. So you got Sybil on under cog Sybil and so on. Let's grab right after Renamon, I guess. Paste a new one and put the pawn name on whatever you want to write on whatever you want to write down on console to spawn your character. So don't use any caps or anything. So just call Wolfie here, and we're calling the class cog Wolfie. It needs to be the exact same name as the one we were modifying just a second ago, which is, yep, pawn cogwolfie.uc. It needs to be that same name except for the UC. And everything is actually controlled by the same AI class, which is the same gear AI cog gear. Alright, post-production here. I actually forgot one more thing that you're supposed to place, well, you're supposed to modify on the INI files to actually make your character pop up as an actual bot when you're playing MP matches. So on your default game.ini file, scrolling down, you're gonna find this tab here called gear MP resources underscore base. Here is basically every single class that the game can actually pick for a character. So what you basically want to do is just go to the very bottom and actually just add the classes that we made for our characters into the list. And if you're lucky, they're gonna spawn on your multiplayer matches. So it needs to be the exact same name as the class. Otherwise, it's just gonna default to Marcus. So in this case, we did Cogwolfie needs to be the exact same name that we actually put in our sheet manager. The class name needs to be this exact same one. So, in this case, we will be grabbing this one and then, just copying and pasting it in here like this. It's already there. Once it's done here, it will actually just update the geargame.ini itself to actually reflect the changes. So you can see here it actually just added it by itself. So yeah, once you're done with this, you can keep going with the tutorial. So once you got that done, all you need to do is to compile the scripts, but actually close down the game. So make sure everything is saved and close it down. Otherwise, it's not gonna actually compile anything. So script, compile scripts. Also, make sure the text and everything are actually saved, so you don't get any surprises or anything. So compile scripts. And yeah, these warnings are not gonna appear to you because you don't fuck around with packages like that. So just let it compile the stuff. In here, it's actually gonna show up if there's any errors you might have done in your scripts. I think I had one with the Alice script where it had um, like a property that's not existent, or maybe I might have fixed it. I'm not sure. Well, yeah, for example, here it's showing up some errors from the front end classes, which are actually related to a menu fix that I might upload later for you guys to use. Let's see here. Yeah, Cogale is here. Unknown property in defaults. On the multiplayer classes, there's this stuff, but I realized if you don't use the MP stuff, you can actually use a material setup that's not so complicated. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, and it actually didn't even show up any errors for the Wolfie package, I mean script. So let's try opening up the editor again, and the magic's gonna show. Just wait. Alright, now with your editor open, just open a map. In this case, let's just do Old Town. And yeah, never mind this. You can click play in editor. And now we got ourselves stuff here. Map loaded up. You can see here Sam in this case does not have the correct image applied. It still thinks it's former DC. But test out our new character we just added. Let's just click tab, spawn, layer spawn. In this case we set Wolfie, and it's in the game. Except I forgot something, which is the sockets and mirror stuff. So you can see here, whoa, what is... Yeah, that's quick as hell. But at least the model's in the game and it's working, kind of. So undo the parenting. That way they don't move with the... Yeah, that was on the model. I was fixing stuff before and I forgot to make the parents back. Sorry about that. It's not gonna happen to you, but we're still gonna need to apply those sockets and stuff. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that when I'm back from that. So yeah, I'll see you over there. And what you saw right there was a little mishap on mine because I forgot to parent the feet back to their knees when I was doing the whole knee relocation thing. But I'm gonna actually take advantage of this and tell you that you can always just export the FBX back to the same file. Always remember to get the adjustments here, right? I think it's, yeah, it kept the settings, so you can do that and then go back into gears, into your package, and you can actually just re-import it back without actually doing the whole assigning materials thing again. So you can right click here and click re-import skeletal mesh, and as long as you didn't move anything on the material stuff, it should show up just fine, and it does. So good. As I was saying, once you pop into the game here in the editor, you can click the tab key and type down spawn layer pawn, and we type the name that we assigned before in the script, in the Kit Engine script, and type enter, and it kind of works. I say kind of works because it still moves a little wonky and there's no weapon showing up. That is because we forgot the socket. What are the sockets? Well, those are, you can call them like special bones that the game uses to actually tell the characters like where to hold their guns, where to put the camera and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty sure I cannot even, oh no, yeah, you can do that, but as you can see here, if I tilt left, it's still looking to the right. That is because we haven't adjusted the mirror tables. Each character has a mirror table for all of those animations, you know, to cut half of the storage on animations. It makes sense. So we're gonna adjust those right now. So the hard way of doing this would be to actually like redo all of the sockets here. In the socket manager, you will have to click new socket and then name it. I think it was like head test 1, 2. There's a bunch of those, and also the same thing for the mirror table. So here, like you could try to build an auto, you could try to click on the auto build mirror table, but still there will be stuff, there will be wonky stuff. So instead of doing it from scratch, we're just gonna grab ones already existing from the character that we started off from. So we can grab stuff from Sam. In this case, you can click skeleton mesh here, and let me actually get the window here. You can click Sam's mesh asset here and just go copy mirror table from selected scale mesh. Just click yes, because we don't actually have any, and you will have most of the work done. The only stuff that you will have to manually adjust on the mirror table would be like the custom bones. Like in this case would be like the tail and like the head stuff. But like the body parts that matter, like the head, the spine and all that stuff, it should work right out of the box. Let me actually get into Sam here and go into the socket manager. You can see here there's a couple of buttons to the right to copy and paste sockets. Well, we're gonna copy them from Sam and we're gonna paste them over to our new model. So go socket manager and paste sockets. Should work just fine. Once you're done with that, you can close that up and save the package. And now when you go ahead and play, you can always like tab and like press arrow up to get the last stuff you were typing. And now it works. Because it's just holding our gun right, and the mirror table, check on the right. Whoa! Yeah, it's bound to do that. So don't worry about that too much. You can adjust them on the actual asset editor. So let's actually do that. We can always like preview it like this, or no, actually we don't even need to like preview it like that. It's probably gonna crash out if we're doing that. But you can go into scale mesh, your custom scale mesh, and click on this magic button here called check mirror table. No, that wasn't it. You can click on, no, it was, yeah, this show mirror. And it shows everything that's messing up, basically. But you can check the mirror table actually into one of these tabs here. So it's, yeah, here. Scale mirror table. It's actually just right there. Let me actually, there. Scale mirror table. Here is basically every single bone in your character. What we need to do basically is to grab every single bone from here that's moving weird and assign it to axis blank, like this one here. All of the ones that are not, um, all the ones that are not, that were not in the original model bones, are assigned axis none. That's why they look weird. So we need to check every single bone here to see which is actually doing weird. You can actually, for example, here we got PMF tongue, all the stuff that was attached to the head. You can see all of those are attached to the head. Every single one of these things here is actually messing up bad. So we can check bone from 18 to, say, holy crap, that's a lot of bones. I said 18, right? From 18 to 146 are all messed up. Wow, that's a lot. Normally, I don't think you will have to mess around with this many bones, but yeah, it's gonna take a little while. Just wait. Oh no, what? All those are axis blank already. Check 27. Which one was 27? Oh wait, no, actually, those were actually in Sans model. I think I forgot to erase them. Like I only erased the parents, not the rest. So from 28, actually, from 28 down to 145 or 46. I'm gonna say 45 because the rest is a little off. But yeah, from 28 to 145, 46, we're gonna have to actually fix up. So I said 27. No, 28. So just grab 28, click on the little tab, and select blank. And it kind of fixed up since that's supposed to be the ear. Or you can go one by one, ticking them down, and it will actually try to fix itself up. See, that ear is where it's supposed to be now. You're supposed to do this with every single bone that is not the ones from the original model. So yeah, you can be here for a while just ticking down boxes to access blank. I'm not sure if a tool can be done to automate this, but yeah, just do this with every single bone that's fucking up that you know of with this button here. So yeah, just fix all of the bones until you feel like none of them are moving weird in this view. See, it already looks a little, no wait, no, I actually didn't click on this. Yeah, it still doesn't look normal. But yeah, just axis blank, all the ones that are screwing up. Okay, once you have all of those bones done, then it should be good to go on the game, as in the model itself, it's not gonna bend weird. Let's check that out, and voila, it works fine. It's just a little shinier than it should, but you know, you don't click keypad to actually check your shit. And yeah, the only thing would be like the leg looks a little stretchy, but that to be expected. Why don't do that? Just realized the stone does that. What the fuck? Or whatever. Now you might see here, well, the hands are actually looking pretty fine for this mode. That's actually kind of scary. On other modes, they might look a little off, but you can see here, like the pistol, we don't want it to be there because that's where the tail is, and the shotgun is actually looking quite floaty. We can fix that by moving the actual attachments. So let's do that. Back to the skeletal mesh. We can go into the socket manager and start moving the sockets. Although you can see here just a bunch of red tetragons or whatever. You can actually attach, you know, actual weapons to these attachments to actually see kind of what you're doing. So you can go on the content browser and just type in, for example, we wanted the shotgun. You can go here, go weapon shotgun, and we want skeletal meshes. What? Maybe static mesh. What? Well, you can also use the double barrel, but I think it's actually under Nasher, right? Yep, it's under Cog Nasher. You can grab the skeleton mesh and go into the actual mount stuff. So, like, let's check left back mount socket, and over here you can see preview scale mesh. With that skeleton mesh of the Nasher selected, you can click the green arrow and it should work. Now you're free to move it around. Let me actually get the window a bit more comfortable. Like that, you're free to move it around. So green, we want it to be a bit more stuck to the back, and maybe a little bit outwards. What the fuck? I should have picked the blue one. I don't think you can control see it back, right? No, that's not a thing. Well, just move the attachment to wherever you feel like it. Like that. That feels quite a bit better. I'm gonna leave it floating a little bit, just a little bit, so it doesn't look too bad when it's actually in the game. And also the holster for the pistol. You can use well, you can actually just type in pistol and you're gonna get the three pistols. The snub, the Gorgon, and the Boltok. I would recommend just using the snub or the Boltok as a reference. The Gorgon, just by how it's built, it's always just gonna clip into the leg of the character. That always happens. So don't worry about that. I'm actually gonna try to use the Boltok. It looks quite a bit better. So let's go holster. preview scale mesh like that. And yeah, for the location of the holster, if your character has any sort of like attachments for on the right, I would actually not recommend it putting the holster over there. Just try to keep it on the back here, on like the belt back, or on the right leg, not on the left, because the animation of pulling out the pistol goes kind of like in an arch like this to try and reach your stuff. So yeah, you can rotate stuff with the rotate socket thingy here. So just rotate it. Oh wait, no, actually, yeah, it's gonna look weird if it's not really in the belt in this case, since the socket is attached to the pelvis bone. If your character actually has the like an actual holster thing on the right leg, I would actually recommend deleting the socket and creating a new socket called the exact same on the thigh R bone, right? So call that and then just call it holster. It needs to be the exact same name. If you make any sort of typo, then the weapon is just not gonna show up at all. So watch out for that. It works like that. And lastly, the for the right one, you use the Lancer. So assault rifle. It's called Cog assault rifle. It's not Lancer, by the way. Let's get skeleton mesh and just go for the right back mount preview. And you can see it's actually quite off. Jesus. Let's get it to the back. Make it go outwards, maybe a bit downward. I actually kind of fucked that up, but whatever. That should be fine like that. Like if you're the only way you're getting this position is holding a grenade. Yeah, that should be good. If your character, if you have bad luck and your character does not actually hold your guns right, you would be able to just move the right hand um the right hand socket with your gun attached. Like for example here, you can also attach the Lancer and try to get it as close to this as possible so that the rest of the weapon actually follows in a nice way. So yeah, once you get this done, just go back to your normal package stuff, right? And then just save your package because we did move stuff. So save, then you can check it in gameplay. Yeah, just write down the command with the up button, and it's actually working quite well. I wouldn't be mad with this at all. Like, look, it works fine. You know, the mirror stuff, it works. It works nicely. Yeah, I would actually, I'm gonna actually show you the Gore stuff, so let's show you that command. You can also spawn your character name, like Wolfie. Be retarded. True retarded. And override team name. This depends on whether you spawn as Cog or Locust. In this case we're Cog, so I'm gonna type 1. Didn't hear a sound, that was weird, but there she is. Again, I'm probably gonna have to check the transparency of those glasses. They look quite a bit off, as well as the specular here. She looks a little oily, but you know, actually Epic Games fucks up shaders a lot of times in Fortnite, so this is this is not brand new stuff for Epic. So I should try spawning in 0 as well to not make the world blow up once I get one single kill. I feel it very far. And as you can see, he didn't split up in 1,000 pieces, so yeah, that's the only thing. It's like one big jib, it's still gonna bleed out. Okay, post-production me here. As you saw right there in the video, the body is not supposed to do that. It's supposed to actually turn on some blood decals after you kill a character. So as you can see here, Anya just turns into a bunch of pieces as well, but also the body itself is covered in blood decals to really make sure it looks dead. But that did not happen with Wolfie because the actual configuration was wrong. So I'm just gonna show you here what I did. So first off, we need this other material instant constant with the actual blood decal applied. So to get that, you're actually supposed to go into your Cop Soldiers package, and at the bottom there should be this All Soldier Shaders tab. Clicking into here, you can actually see that all of the characters have two sets of material. So you can see one is like the clean one and the other one is the one that's covered in blood. So what you basically want to do is copy this one, so just create a copy into your package, and once you do that, you go into the actual material itself right here, and you make the parent of it your actual material that we made before. So this would be its parent. It's called Wolfie body, Gore. The parent should be called Wolfie body, right? And after that, I think it should be fine. Like the texture parameters should be the same ones that you already applied. So just gonna copy it like that. It should work. And after that, your actual Gore settings file. You're supposed to make your Gore Mesh LOD 0, since we don't actually have a Gore Mesh LOD. We're just gonna use the one that's already there, so 0. And the Gore Mesh Material ID is supposed to be set to -1 to just grab the last material index on your list. So in this case, it will be grabbing this one. Setting it up that way actually makes it so it behaves like an actual normal character. So let me just spawn Wolfie here to show you that I'm not lying. So let's shoot and pop her head, and there you go, she's covered in blood correctly. So yeah, that's that. Once you're done with this, you should be pretty much good to go. Especially because it's not actually getting any blood details on it. We actually want another one. Oh no, yeah, there are blood decals. It's just they look so freaking weird. Yeah, it might have to do with them all kind of stretching out, but you get your custom character working in here, so yeah, that's pretty good for this video, I guess. Next video I will tell you how to get the physics asset of customized so the tail will actually move it. That's a little upsetting, especially for the furry community. Like, come on, you cannot have a furry character with a tail just sticking out the back, like a freaking stick. It looks off. So yeah. See you in the next one. Have a good one.
I need help!
No, you don't. Your ass, babe.
Waste not, want not.
And actually, let me get a sniper. One weapon. Sniper. Sniper. Get that. And one Naruto Wolfie one. And boom! One spawn protection. Fuck. Boom! That's at least the only thing that works without moving stuff is the headshots. The character still has their head blown without touching anything, which is, I think, the least amount of gore you can expect in Gears, I guess.
In your ugly face!
Yeah, like, imagine if the heads did not blow up and you just turn into blue dust. Huh? Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, have a good one. And get some epic music running with this. Even if it's for a blooper, come on, just give me some epic music to fix mirror table too. Come on. Let me get a. Can I get a still on the bottom? Fucking. Yeah, this is a good one. Perkele! Blank. 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 Man, I probably could have deleted like half of this shit now that I look at it. Like the base actually didn't do too much. And I'm probably gonna have to fix that out later, but it's just an example of what to do when you have a bunch of hair bones, I guess. If anybody else is pulling this stunt, you can do it. Just access blank everything. And blank.